It's episode 7 of our Hill Climb Diaries, and we've had another wet weekend of racing.
Yes, Joe!
This week we're covering 3 different hill climbs. On Saturday, I headed up north for an absolute classic at Jackson Bridge, which was organised by the Huddersfield Star Wheelers, whilst Ruben and Jack hit up a local one organised by the University of Bristol.
On Sunday we were all back together for the Bath CC Hill Climb. It was another wet one and things didn't really go entirely to plan for Joe or Jack.
As per usual, we also have some training advice from our coach Tom Bell. He was at Jackson Bridge as well. He went a lot faster than me and on a much heavier bike. And finally, Jack gives us a rundown on his hill climb Fixie.
Bye, Jackie boy. So I've just arrived at the HQ in Flaxbourton for the University of Bristol hill climb, which is on Belmont Hill, and it's pretty close to us, so it's really nice not to have like an hour and a half drive in the morning. The weather's pretty interesting. We've got Storm Callum, I think blew through last night, but thankfully looked at the weather and we have mostly a cross tailwind, and then towards the end we've got a final straight and it's almost a direct tailwind, so really nice. And that's a polar opposite to Joe, who is at Jackson Bridge this morning. He's probably still driving up now, but he's basically got a tailwind for the first 20 metres and then it sort of loops round and just slowly just does a U-turn on itself. So he's got a good sort of 4.5-5 minutes, given how strong the winds are up there, of just turning into a direct headwind for the finish. So very opposite hill climbs. I'm very glad I'm not going up there. But just waiting for Jack. He's going to be riding his his newly modified Fixie. So that's going to be quite exciting to see. In true Jack style, what's your bike prep like?
Bad. So obviously I got it put together yesterday. But to sum up, we've got inner tubes taped to the bars, a chainring bolt missing. I've forgotten the quick release for this wheel, so I'm going to have to borrow my girlfriend's off her bike. I'm running the wrong gear.
And you didn't cut your steerer?
And I didn't cut my steer or shave my legs.
Right, so this is Belmont. It's a nice climb, it's just not a very nice road, it's very busy. It's a little steep bit, and you have a pretty flat, slow right-hander, then you turn into this drag. It's a good while, it's at least sort of a minute and a bit of just looking straight up the road. Then you have a little kink, and then it's the finish straight. How are you feeling it for your Fixie?
Alright, I think it's going to be really good at the Fixie. It's really mellow, there's no really steep ramps, and it's got a wicked tailwind today. It just feels quick. That sounds really stupid, but like compared to the roads, it just feels really efficient. It feels so light, very direct. It's very satisfying, I think is the way to describe it.
Well, while me and Joe are sort of knocking out interval sessions, Jack's employed the full recovery mode hill climb training program that he's perfected over many years.
That's a really good guy, full recovery, I like that.
Fixie brother.
So on, son, digging!
Go on, Dave. Bit of an ironic name for your bike, isn't it?
Oh, well, Seb actually, Seb modified it, did you not see?
No. Oh no, that's brilliant.
Yeah,
that's great.
Fellow Scot and bully.
Go on, Jackie boy.
Morning, Ben! It's alright, it's good, I'm happy. I felt terrible coming over the finish. Couldn't feel my arms, so must have done alright for me.
You say it's one of the better organised events around here. Although like Belmont is super busy, it's actually a wicked climb, really technical climb and quite easy to get it wrong. But the Fixie,
it's great, it's perfect. I mean, it's mellow enough, you're not mashing too hard, the gear was okay. Good crowd at the end, and everybody's like, oh cool, he's riding the Fixie. So what more could I ask for?
Bath tomorrow.
Bath tomorrow.
You excited?
Yeah, I am. Should be great.
I think we're both in agreement that we are happy that we had a really strong tailwind rather than the really strong headwind that Joe texted us about earlier, where he said he almost got blown off his bike at the top of Jackson Bridge. So fingers crossed he's all right. Come on, Andrew, come on!
I'm up at a Northern Classic Jackson Bridge while Ruben and Jack are sunning themselves back down in Bristol at Belmont Hill. It's pretty grim weather again, very windy. A lot of chat about the headwind at the top of the climb, so yeah, gonna go and check it out and see what it looks like. Here with Coach Tom today. You looking forward to this hill climb?
Yeah, I think so. It's quite a local one where I grew up around here, so quite local. I know it quite well, but the wind is definitely blowing today, so it'll be quite an interesting, adds an interesting dynamic to it for sure.
So that's Jackson Bridge done. Did good power, well, I think I did good power for me, but with that headwind I had to stand out the saddle for like nearly the whole thing, so I was much slower than last year. I think compared to everyone else I probably struggled today. It's a good day. I think a few of the favourites for the national championships are here and they're all racing against each other today, so it'll be good to see who came out on top, who's going to be going into a couple of weekends time with a bit of confidence. Let's go and have a look.
Thinking, Joe?
It's pretty wet.
It's good, eh?
Excellent.
Haven't been very lucky with the weather, have we?
We're at Bath today. It's a good climb, one we were looking forward to, but the weather's
Terrible.
taxing again, which is skewing the motivation, isn't it?
It's part of the charm, but I'm not feeling very charmed today. I'm feeling quite... No, it's going to be fine. It'll be fun. We'll have a lot of fun.
Yeah, we've got 2 Tunnock's tea cakes to eat afterwards as a reward. Well, yeah, probably, as I'm psyched as well, we should probably go have a free ride, get changed.
Possibly the most miserable warm-up of the year, Joe?
Yeah.
Warm-up poncho. What have you forgotten today?
Wheel, a skin suit, a socks it turned out, all of which I've had to borrow from Joe.
Yeah, so he's borrowed my good front wheel, my clothes, and some socks as well, so. We didn't even rush when we left this morning.
No, it was quite relaxing.
Yeah, oh well.
Joe's going to reach out the window and touch a stranger's bum. It's me, it's not a stranger. Cycling's a weird sport.
Cut carefully off in a minute. He's here, he's just faffing.
Sorted. Yeah, you can take off with it.
5, 4, right, go and get your coat, miss.
2, 1, go.
Go, Jack!
Nice save!
Come on, last bit, looking strong. Up, 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 up. You're on Instagram Live. You're looking good. Do it for the fans. Dig in, dig in, dig in, Ruben.
Up, 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 up.
Yes, Joe. Dig in, dig in, dig in, dig in, dig in. Come on, Joe. There he goes. Round the left, go.
Redemption for last week.
Yeah. No vegan. No. Vegan turd. Is that what they look like for you now?
Joe, Jack, how did we get on this weekend?
I want to hear about how Jack got on Sunday.
Saturday was good. Belmont got up the hill. Sunday though, much more eventful, very rainy, but more than that at the start. Guy that holds you at the start, he he let me lean over a little bit towards the side, and I managed to unclip and almost fall off at the start, which is obviously ideal for the start of a hill climb.
Probably cost you the win, didn't it?
Oh, I mean, it was the difference between at least 45th and 46th place, I think. Yeah.
It provided some good entertainment. For me, Jackson Bridge was good. The headwind was horrible, as you know. I did 436 watts for 4 minutes 50, something like that, which is 6.9 watts per kilo. Got a 5-minute power PB within that, so that was quite good for me. Sunday, not so good. Got very cold. I did, looking at my bit of paper here, 499 watts for 2.5 minutes, just under 2.5 minutes, which was well off what I think I can do. I did better than that in training yesterday, so yeah, was a bit disappointed with Sunday.
Yeah, you went all diva when I was filming him on the Instagram live. You didn't even want to speak on camera. You were really.
I just would have said negative things. So no one wants to hear that.
Right, and for me, Belmont was pretty good. Struggled on the flat a bit, but Sunday, I think it's the first time my power has ever been higher than yours. And I think that shows actually how cold it was. Really cold, and you don't fare too well in the cold. So
I'm like a lizard.
Yeah.
I needed a heat lamp to sit under at the start.
He still put 20 seconds into me, which also shows how steep that climb was. So it's good nationals prep though. However, training is now tapering. I think we're quite glad that it is. So we're going to hear from Tom Bell again just to find out what's in store for us next week.
Jack's still on his full recovery training plan though.
100% recovery.
So back with an update on Joe's training, and things have been going pretty well up to this point. He managed to achieve a 5-minute hill climb season power PB at the recent Jackson Bridge hill climb run by Home Valley Wheelers, putting in a strong performance to finish well inside the top 10. The training leading up to this weekend, as we discussed in the last video, featured some VO2 max work, some harder anaerobic type intervals, as well as some steady riding, and Joe managed to achieve the TSS that was set for that week. Some more good news, and this week has started with another power PB, this time over the 1 minute duration, indicating that the higher intensity workouts that we've done leading up to this point have yielded the kind of adaptations we were looking for. With less than 2 weeks to go now until the National Championships on Peroyd Lane in Stocksbridge, Joe's training seems to be right on track and will now be looking to taper down and reduce his volume in order to peak his form for race day.
Alright Jack, that's your bike for the Nationals. Can you talk us through it?
Sure. So, if you've been watching, you would have seen I was on that Rose X light disc. Very nice bike, quite heavy. Had this state undefeated for a bit over a year now, and before I'd built it up like this, I had it as a very trendy flat bar Fixie, but I've given it the hill climb treatment, and yeah, it's pretty light for me.
So you say the hill climb treatment, what have you done to it?
So to start, had some very heavy training wheels on it, just stock wheels, and I've borrowed the wheels from Joe's 2016 engineered Fixie, which you can see in some other videos on our channel, and these are built up on a set of Yishin bike rims with a set of Mac hubs. Those hubs are about the lightest fixed gear hubs you can get, and the absolute set comes in at about 1,000 grams. On those we've got a set of Continental Podium TT tyres in a 22mm width, very, very old school but very light. Up front we've got a set of Profile Svet TT bars, very cool TT base bars. They feel wicked, like more than anything they just feel absolutely amazing. They're so stiff and the position is fairly ridiculous, so yeah, no excuses there. I've also given myself a little bit of DIY bar tape. I rode them around the workshop and nearly fell off with my sweaty hands, so I have made my own inner tube based grip tape, and it feels really good. I've got a set of Look SRM Exact pedals. I've only had these for a little bit, been faffing about a little bit, and I've got those with the matching PC8 head unit, and yeah, they tell me how little power I'm putting out on the climbs, so can't really complain there.
What about the cranks?
Yeah, that's a set of SRAM Omnium cranks. They're SRAM's track cranks, much beloved by Fixieistas of the world. They've got a relatively narrow Q factor, and I just really like the way they feel, super, super stiff. The only issue with them is, as they are track cranks, they use a standard track BCD, which means the smallest chainring you can get is about 42, which is what I'm running here. You can also see that for weight savings, and definitely not because I didn't have one, I've only got 4 crank bolts. So that'll be saving the weight that I've taken up by putting rubber on my bars.
And so an all-important question is, what gearing do you think you're going to need for the Nationals? Is that the spec for it, or?
Ruben, you know I haven't got that far yet. That's far too organised for me. Thus far I've got a 4220 as my easiest gear. I'm waiting on some bigger cogs to arrive. We'll wait and see if they do. That's the ratio I ran at Belmont. Felt great at Belmont, so it's probably going to be terrible for the Nationals. And it was a bit too hard for the Sunday at Hinton, so yeah, I'm definitely going to have to get something. As for what I will run, we'll wait and see. I did have a relatively heavy brake on, but I had a little EE brake stashed away, so I've pulled that out. Again, feels amazing as well as being stupidly light. And I think that's really the whole thing for me. Like, I need to lose weight more than my bike does. But I like riding Fixies, and for the hill climbs, it just feels wicked. There's no excuses, it feels so efficient. It's a really stiff bike, and it's just really fun. I also like the attention, so that's good. And overall, I'm sure you're all wondering, I mean, I've not got the lightest kit in the world. I've got some fairly nice stuff. I've got like an alloy, cheap stem, cheap Ritchie kit, and a heavyish saddle. But overall, the whole thing comes in at 6.1 kilos without the computer. So yeah, nothing to sniff at, and more than adequate for a part-time cyclist like me.
So that's another weekend down, and there is not much time left now before the Nationals for us to hone either our bikes or our bodies. This coming Saturday, Ruben and I are on one of our favourite climbs of the year. It's semi-local, it's organised by Team Tour, and it's at West Close Hill, which is a pretty tough climb.
Jack is out of action on Saturday, but on Sunday he returns to head over to the Bristol South CC Burrington Hill Climb with Joe, and that's one that you actually won last year, so no pressure.
I won't be winning this year.
And there's always a great crowd there, so if you're in the Bristol area, definitely head down to there on Sunday to give them a cheer.
And Ruben heads up north once again for another 2.5 minutes of pain at the Matlock Hill Climb on Bank Road. That's the same climb as the 2016 Nationals, and it is a short and tough climb. Coach Tom Bell will be there as well, so we're looking forward to seeing if he can get a result. He'll also be giving us some details on our final week of training before the National Championships.
Finally, we'll be taking another look at our bikes, but this time in full Nationals ready spec, including a few modifications and some last minute upgrades.
Yeah, we've been very lucky and had a few more crazy upgrades come in, so might be able to get the bikes a bit lighter.
So thanks for watching, and let us know if you have any questions in the comments. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe.
Bye!